A typical studio class will play about 13 to maybe 17 songs, if
Mhm.
that. I play about 70 to 100 for
Wow.
the hour. So for
Wow.
every hour, I'm playing like 70 to 100 songs.
Hey, welcome to the Fatherless Cheat Sheet. I am your fatherless friend, Andrew, and today we are talking to the DJ, to the guy, Sam, also known as DJ Nugget. He is a great DJ based in Tampa, St. Pete, originally from Philly, comes back and forth. He does a little bit of everything. I like to talk to people who work their asses off. I like to talk to people who build something from nothing. It's very interesting to me when someone has creative ability and they also have the business sense and the common sense, the interpersonal skills to turn that thing into their thing, turn that thing into a viable business. And this viable business, I think, is something we all need right now, is to get your ass up and dance a little bit. And he does that. He's the guy. And he's also parlayed this, Sam has, into collaborations with big yoga and Pilates programs, dozens of people out there doing their thing, to live music, to a live DJ, I should say. DJs are pretty interesting. DJs are interesting in that you can almost equate it a little bit to, a lead singer of a band or a great comedian. That person not only holds the crowd's attention, but dictates the feel of that crowd and sort of dials into the emotion of the room, whether it's a tiny room with 6 people or it's 500 people in a big dance hall. I just dated myself, dance hall. What the hell is that? The Limelight back in the 90s. I'm not even that old. I was a kid in the 90s. But I guess my point is that it's a fascinating thing. Anybody could play the record, but not everybody could do it in a way that gets the most out of the crowd and out of their emotions, out of their mood, out of their what they want to do that night. People drinking and doing this and doing that and doing more than that. But it takes somebody who's sort of sensitive to that group think and to that group vibe. And I think Sam was enlightening in that and talking a little bit about his process and what he does to get people going and not, and what the challenges are, and a little bit about his business. And I also just like to talk to people I want to talk to. I found him interesting. He was kind enough to spend some time and come on. So it's the Fatherless Cheat Sheet. Check it out. Okay, guys, very happy to welcome Sam, also known as DJ Nugget, to the Fatherless Cheat Sheet. Sam, so good to see you, man. So good to talk to you.
Yeah, this will be good. I'm excited.
Yeah, a couple things I was impressed with. You've cultivated this business and you've managed to not just build a business, but do it in a very positive way and sort of bringing the experiential to light, obviously as a DJ, but also some of the stuff you've pivoted to with having sort of the fitness realm involved as well. I want to get into all that and more. But first thing I want to ask you is, what is it like just being the coolest guy in the room
Stop.
most of the time?
When you're DJing, it's nice to the benefit is not even being the cool guy, but you just don't have to deal with people. Going to the bars and having the experience as a DJ is so much different than as a normal person. I'm not waiting in lines for drinks. I'm not bumping into people. I've got my own little VIP section of myself. Everybody wants to hang out up there, which is nice. But you get to have that experience without any of the hassle and any of the stuff that normal people deal with all the waiting and the bumping into people and the crowds and all that. I can't do crowds anymore. I'm just getting old. And so the only way I'll go to a nightclub is if I'm working. I won't go as like a regular, just attending.
Sure. And I don't want to speak for you, but I'm sure at this point you have a pretty great network that you're probably not waiting in lines. You have your buddies are behind the,
I don't even really, I wouldn't say I'm sober, but I don't really drink frequently enough to even, but I would say maybe like 3 years ago, I was drinking a lot more and I would go out and like that's the nice thing about being a DJ, especially if you're doing a lot of nightclubs is you know everybody. So you just walk right in and do whatever. Yeah, it can be really cool, especially like, My girlfriend right now, she doesn't drink at all, so I can't pull this move on her. But if she did, I'd be able to like walk her right in, and that feels cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll walk her in and get her a mocktail. We'll make her feel special
Yeah,
anyways, you
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? So you could still do it. But let's get into, people look at a DJ and they, there's a real psychology behind being a DJ. There's a real way and a stark difference between a good DJ and a bad DJ, someone who could command a crowd and not and keep that party going. What are some of the things like psychologically that you think about during a set?
Um, oh, that's interesting. I don't know. It's like, once you've done it for long enough, you don't think that much. But it's really challenging when the room isn't packed. That's when you have to think a lot more because you have to try to get like one little group to start dancing and hope that it infects the rest of the room. A lot of times it's just genres and which, you'll look at what people are responding to and then you decide to lean more in one direction or another.
Yeah.
Um, and then a lot of the time, I'll have a really diverse crowd at a lot of the places I play. So a lot of the time I'm taking, I might do when I play at Hula Bay, it's this little not even little, it's a beach bar essentially
Mhm.
because it's, like, right on the marina, and you've got boats coming and going, and there's young people there, and then there's
Yeah.
older people there, and there's people there that want country, and there's people there that want EDM, and so
Right.
what I'll do when the crowd is that diverse a lot of the time is I'll do back to back to back a bunch of different genres, so I'll do maybe, like, Jackson 5, and then maybe Beyoncé, Crazy in Love,
Yeah.
and then maybe, like, a Travis Scott song, and then maybe, um Prince Kiss after all of that,
Yeah, yeah.
and you'll just get 30 seconds of each one, but that kinda makes everybody happy.
Yeah, sure, and again, sort of tying it back to the fatherless cheat sheet, we talk all the time about connective tissue, what makes us all tick. And I think that nowadays, as we're sort of more siloed than ever, sort of on our phones, we feel like we're connected, but we're not. I think it's a cool service for music to bring people together like that, especially when you have so many different people at a place like that. But I think connective tissue, as I always say, I beat the drum constantly, is music, and is at the end of the day a good time, whether you're having a drink or not.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to read the room
Am I
and
allowed to ask you questions?
sure, yeah,
Alright, cool.
of
When
course.
you so p typically, the hardest people I have a time, like, DJing for is you. Like,
Okay.
your exact demographic, like, you are, what, I'd say between 30 and 40?
You're very kind. I'll be 45 in September.
Okay, so for yeah, it's even worse.
Yeah.
So, I have no
I know it.
idea what your age group wants to hear ever, and
Yeah,
even if it's for I think me and you grew up in a time where, like, it just wasn't cool as a dude to be excited about anything, right?
yeah,
So, you could hear your favorite song in the entire world and just go, "Oh, yeah, it's good." And that's the only
right.
reaction I'm getting out of your age group,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
older men that are, like, especially, like, 50 plus. There is there's no songs you could play unless they're hammered to, like, really get them
sure.
excited, so it's really difficult. Yeah, what do you is there any music where you're like, "I can't wait to hear this. This is exactly what I want," where you get
Yeah,
excited about?
sure, and I'm a guy, I'm not exactly the typical I'll give you more than a toe tap. I'll get up there with my wife and we'll do a little something, but,
Okay.
I like I l you can't stop me from moving if Staying Alive comes on.
Oh,
It's not
really?
it's not gonna happen. It's just it's in my I just start doing
Yeah,
it. Maybe it's the whole Saturday Night Fever, eating a slice on the sidewalk type thing,
that's
but
good.
something like that, 90s R&B, forget it. My wife, she's gonna take the hoops off and start dancing, you know what I'm saying? So, it's just, when you can just sort of let loose and have a good time with the whole thing, and I think classic rock, "Don't Stop Believin'," or something like that when you're just out drinking with your friends, and what I think the thing that a good DJ and everything I've seen and heard about you has been nothing but really great, honestly. I'm not shining you on, you're on the show already,
Yeah,
but it's like you're able to a good DJ is able to get that person, that tough person who's just sitting there with that mug on that nobody wants to be around, and they loosen up a little bit, after a couple surf sides or whatever. So
yeah.
it's a real talent to read the room and keep it moving like that. And it's interesting because we've all anybody listening, 90% of us have had experience at a place, at a bar, at a great club, marina side club or something like that outdoors where it's just, it's just feeling it. It's good. Feels good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
All right, good.
y
I'm glad you're not part of there's some of these guys where they're like, "Just put on some Bob Dylan." And I'm like, "Ugh,
some Dylan,
all right.
yeah, a little Bob Dylan
Yeah,
gets the
gets
crowd
everybody
going. I
going."
mean, go to the coffee house and sit
Yeah.
in the corner facing the wall, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But so I wanna talk a little bit about how you built your business, not nuts and bolts. I'm not looking to be too personal, of course, but I just find it really impressive that as creative as you are and the medium you're in, but you've also built this great business paradigm where now you're doing some stuff with fitness get-togethers, which is a great pivot because not everybody, like you said, your girlfriend's not a drinker. Not everybody's there to drink and party. They want to do something at 5 o'clock, and you're hosting these big, huge yoga classes and stuff like that. Tell me about sort of the genesis of that, and go into that as much as you can.
Sure. I started that about roughly a year ago. I was living in Philly before I moved to Tampa, Florida, and I started it a little bit there, and I just noticed that there was a everything is shifting. People are just
Mhm.
not going to nightclubs the way they used to. They're not going to bars the way they used to. It's just everything's moving toward fitness and just health, and people just want to feel good. And so I was like, well, I need to get ahead of this as a DJ. I need to find a way to be able to work.
Yeah,
So I started all these events that were more or less fitness and drinking, or
yeah,
fitness and a DJ, not even drinking. Like a lot of the events are like kombucha or whatever, but fitness plus a DJ is the basic idea.
yeah,
And people really like it. It's different than what they're used to hearing. When you go to these fitness studios, if you go to a yoga studio or a Pilates studio, the instructors most of the time are forced to they have a Spotify playlist and they play their
yeah,
songs and the song plays from beginning to end and then another song plays and that's fine. But that's what makes the experience with the DJ so different because I play a typical studio class will play about 13 to maybe 17 songs, if
mhm.
that. I play about 70 to 100 for
Wow.
the hour. So for
Huh.
every hour, I'm playing like 70 to 100 songs, and so you just it's changing so much that it kinda keeps you going. It in this TikTok generation that we live in, people lose interest fast, so
Mhm.
keeping those songs cycling just keeps everybody's interest. It's more motivating. Um, I have access to a lot of songs and remixes that you can't get a hold of on Spotify, and so I've got,
Yeah,
like, some unique stuff that people can't, typically hear in class, which is good. So, yeah, I mean, that is where it started, and that's what's kept it alive.
yeah, for sure. And tell me a little bit about the the relationships that you built along the way, and how you've sort of utilized that in a genuine way, because I think people can sniff bullshit from a mile away, and I think that when you don't have that genuine authentic approach, people don't want to work with you. And I think from what you've built and what I understand, you've been able to do that really well. So how was that factored in with some of your partnerships and brand partnerships?
I would say the biggest thing is, I think a lot of people get caught up in over leveraging, which is not necessarily bad. Like you can, as long as you have something to offer, you can leverage appropriately, and even over leverage if you feel like your product is good. But I for somebody my size that's just starting out, I would just make
Yeah.
sure that I was never making anybody feel like I was asking for more than I was giving, and I was doing a lot of pro bono stuff. The full first
Mhm.
year that I did this, a lot of free stuff, a lot of free
Okay.
events, a lot of just partnering for content, a lot of making sure that um I mean, there's some stuff I was doing a yoga series and I had to drop it completely because I wasn't able to pay people appropriately. And so, like, I was doing a ticket split. So we would ticket these events.
Mhm.
And for a while, I was splitting the ticket revenue with the instructors. That way,
Okay.
they're motivated to bring people because my network wasn't big enough yet.
Mhm.
They're motivated to bring people. I can make them kind of the star of the show. I would put them on all the social media and then I would split the tickets with them so that we're motivated. But a lot of these people would teach at studios and their network was already coming to their class at the studio and they weren't once in a while, you're going to come to a special event, but like if I'm hiring the same person to do that special event over and over again, You might come
Yeah.
like once every 3 months, right? So we'd do a ticket split and then 10 people would come and I'd be paying them way under the rate that they deserved. And so
Mhm.
I just stopped doing it. And then I leaned into Pilates, which I was getting way higher attendance for. And I was able to pay instructors a flat fee and not have to worry about a ticket split or anything because by that point, my network had grown. People were coming without me having to lean on the instructor to bring their people. Um, and I didn't have to. I was getting enough ticket sales to where I could be like, "Oh, I'm comfortable paying this flat fee. I know I'm at least going to make a little profit, or at least be able to break even, which is fine
Mhm.
for right now." Um, and that I think is what helped me to not burn any bridges. Um, yeah, because a lot of people that I've seen that are in kind of my lane will try to charge people too much or get people to do too much free stuff for them too early, I think.
Yeah.
Also not, um, not, a big part of it is not hitting on anybody. Uh, yeah. Yeah, I just, yeah, I've seen a lot of guys try to do what I do, and then they try to,
Yeah.
like, hook up with the instructors, and they try to hook up with, like, the people that are taking the classes and stuff, and that'll just ruin you instantly.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. It you could go on a date with somebody, and it could be fine and whatever, but even if it goes well, it gets around so fast that you dated somebody that went to one of your classes, and that's how you met them.
Yeah.
It just makes everybody feel weird, so, like, the biggest part is just not hitting on people. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
and that's what
very good note.
that's
It's
made me. I feel like that. I hope that that's what's made me, more trusted than a lot of people that are kinda in my position.
sure. I think that's sort of a big example, but just a micro example, a microcosm of the example that it's professionalism. It's trying to have some existential respect for who you're around. And I'm not mad at those guys at all. I get it. But at the end of the day, the whole, shit where you eat
You
thing.
can do it. You could do it. I mean, big risk, potentially big reward, right? Like,
Yeah.
I coulda hit on somebody in one of my classes, and it potentially worked out, and then I end up marrying them, right?
Yeah.
So it could work, but then if it doesn't, it's just you have so much to lose,
Sure.
especially, like, starting out, and I just don't the other thing is, like, a lot of the time I'm the only dude in the room,
Yeah.
and so I have to be pretty conscious of that, and, like, if you're the only dude in the room and you're also, like, asking people out, it's just not good.
Yeah, that could get a little complicated, a little dicey, and it's, maybe not a good position for anybody, but it sounds like just staying having tunnel vision, which is, again, not always the easy pursuit. But I think it's, again, speaks to your professionalism and, to that end, I know you had do you still have do you still have the radio show? The
No, so that's what I left so I was working for iHeartMedia in
Yes, yes, that's
Philadelphia
right.
before I
Okay.
moved out here, um, and it's really crazy. I decided to quit because I was like, "I don't see radio being the path that's gonna pay me what I need to make in the future."
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. So I was like, and my family had just retired in Jacksonville. I was like, all
Okay.
right, I'm going to be a little bit closer to them. I'm going to change my career and invest in something that I feel like is going to pay me more in the future.
Sure.
And then as soon as I decided that, I had actually told a couple people that I work with, I was like, hey, I'm leaving. I'm going to put in my notice soon. And then I got laid off.
Oh, boy.
It was great.
Wow.
It was great. I was going to leave. I was about to leave. I was about to put in my 2 weeks notice, but then I got severance.
No kidding.
So, at the
Well,
timing, I mean, that was to me, I was like, "Oh, this is a sign that, like, I made the right decision."
you made the right decision. Isn't that great when life goes, "Yeah, yeah, kid, you're good.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is
yeah,
good."
yeah,
Yeah. The universe gives you the jelly smack across the face. "You're okay, kid. You're gonna be just fine."
and I got
And
offered another radio job right after I got laid off, but
yeah.
I decided not to take it. I decided to take the risk of not having a salary and coming out here and trying to start something new.
Yeah, sure. I mean, at that point, you have to go with the trailwind behind you because I think that, that's just like you said, having that little little nod and wink from the universe is sometimes what you need, even though you know it was the right decision, and you got the severance, which from a pragmatic standpoint is great.
It's great. Yeah.
It's
What do you
great.
I don't actually know that much. I've checked out your podcast, but I haven't checked out your
Yeah.
personal stuff. Is this isn't your full-time job?
I'm a writer. I'm a
You're a
writer. I've
writer.
been an actor and writer for years and a producer and, you know, so I've
What
been
do you have I seen you and stuff?
I mean, it's, yeah, sure. I mean, Cop Number 1,
Yeah,
Italian Guy 8, you know, that
yeah.
kinda stuff. Nothing to speak home about. I still get we laugh because 'cause I'll get my SAG checks in the mail from my Law& and Order and this and that and stuff like that. It's
That's
silly.
pretty
You know,
cool.
it's nothing, but yeah, it's great. But after sort of later on, and I stopped booking as much, I still audition, but I started to do some more writing and scripted podcasts and other spec projects and stuff like that, and, other just other writing gigs as well with production companies and marketing and all that good stuff.
And
So
is that what made you wanna start this?
yeah, the I always had this sort of, as a creative person, you always have those ideas and those kernels that kind of stick around in your brain or your shoe, and this was one of those things, and I feel like for me, as with what you're doing, there's a lot of creative autonomy, and I can finally take all of my skill set, put it together sort of in a blender, and here we are. So that's sort of what it was, and obviously my story, the fatherless cheat sheet, that sort of thing. I always had a real search for wisdom, knowledge, and I feel like every episode I say this ad nauseum to listeners that I'm just talking to the 8 to 10-year-old husky version of me who just needed who needed some a little bit of a heads up on certain things because my life has been quite a bit of trial and error, as everybody's has, but so that was really the impetus for this show. So I kinda took all that the performance, the writing, the producing, and sort of put it into this. I work with a great production team, on some of the stuff you know, that's it, and here we are, but just growing as you were talking about, you have to grow it, and it's a slower build sometimes than you want it to be.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but you have to that's how you have to start the foundation and the bedrock somehow. So, hopefully, we're building to something, pretty fun,
And
pretty
is the
great.
idea behind the podcast that you, pretty much interview people that you find interesting?
Yeah,
Is that the gist of it?
yes, find interesting, but also able to sort of fill out that fatherless cheat sheet, sort of give you tips and pointers, like from what I can already extrapolate from what we talked about. If someone's out there, let's say there's a young performer, young DJ, you know, can you imagine telling a young kid, a 20-year-old, that you have to do some things for free for a while? Right? That's like, if you think about it, it's not crazy to us. It's a great idea just to get your foot in the door, but to somebody who's 22 years old going, "No, I'm not doing it for free," maybe it make them think about it a little bit differently,
Right.
and that they could spend that first year of what they're doing instead of knocking on doors saying, "I'm gonna charge you $500 an hour," say, "Hey, how about I work for you for 6 months for free, and let's see how this thing goes." So, those are the things that I really wanted to know, and just sort of like I said, and even, hey, I'm gonna tell you this, the 20-year-old me surrounded by, a bunch of ladies in Lululemons, it'd be sorta tough for me not to go, "Hey, how's it going? What's going on? What are you doing later?"
Right.
But to hear your version of that saying, "Listen, you're in a workplace. This is your profession. Although it's spotlights, hot lights, sweating, music, this and that, you gotta just calm down, jackknife, because you don't wanna ruin this thing before it starts."
Yeah, yeah.
So that's sort of the point of the show. So we'll do real quick. My old man used to say, "Is there something your dad said to you that you has stuck with you over the years, been motivating or insightful?"
Um, Something that has been really cool about my dad is he's like, a really reliable person for me and for the family. So, like, no matter how many fights or how many disagreements or whatever, for a long time he just changed his number, so I can't say this anymore, but for a long time, he was the only phone number I had memorized because I was like, "I
Okay.
gotta have my dad's number memorized."
Yeah.
Um and he would always just reinforce that, like, yeah, he would always have, my back, whether it's, like, financially. Like, I feel
Mhm.
like, it's funny because he can get really upset about really dumb things, but then, like, I feel like if I called him and I was in jail, I feel like he would be pretty calm and just, like, be able to help me out, which is
Sure.
really funny. because like I've been like, you get so mad about some really stupid things, and now I'm in jail, and you're like totally
Yeah.
chill. Yeah, so he's that guy, and that has been, I think, something that always sticks with me. It's not necessarily something he's said, but yeah, just
Yeah.
something that he's done over the years.
Yeah, that's even more important to some degree. It's like leading by example and actions, and with those little things, he's getting pissed off. He's letting the steam out. So for the big stuff, he's okay.
It's
That's
so
pretty.
wild. It's so I've never seen anything like it. I'm like, hey man, like I'm in. Yeah, hey, I actually ran over somebody with my car. Should I knock them back out with a shovel? It looks like they might gain consciousness, and he's just like he'll have the answer, and it'll be the
You know,
right one.
he's the guy.
Yeah, he's the guy. So yeah, that's always stuck with me. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's I love hearing that. I always sort of live vicariously through my old man used to say, because unfortunately never had it. I never say that like a victim or a martyr. I really do say it like, man, that's pretty cool, because when you have that guy, when you know that person's in your corner, and I was lucky enough, my mom's it was great and stuff like that, but it's only so much that you could handle. So when that guy, when your corner man is ready to get you out of jail and bury the body if you have to, I mean, that's what you're looking for, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
He'd
it's
do it.
cool. Very good. Well, I'm never surprised. I'm always pleased by how well my guests communicate and how interesting they are and what they can offer to our fatherless cheat sheet and what we can extrapolate from what they say. Sam was absolutely no exception. You could take a couple good nuggets out of there. See what I did? But I found him to be great, charismatic guy. Hopefully, we'll be hearing from him again very soon. And this conversation, these conversations that I have, I want to talk to people like Sam. I want to talk to creative people who are doing their thing, helping people out, getting people together. Certainly, he would get my ass up dancing a little bit. It doesn't take too much. Certainly, if you put on "Staying Alive," because that's one of my faves. But really great conversation. What an easygoing, great guy. And I just, you just root for people like him. And I just want to have more guests like that on the Fatherless Cheat Sheet, because I think people like Sam and people like my previous guests, Nick and Adam and Kerry and all these great guests I've had, just offer a lot of great, just tidbits and great pieces of wisdom within the conversation. And I hope I can elicit that from them and keep that moving, so you can learn a little something and have a couple laughs doing it, because that's my only goal. Make you smile a little bit. But as always, thank you for checking out my humble show, The Fatherless Cheat Sheet. As always, YouTube, please subscribe. Reach out on Instagram, Fatherless Cheat Sheet Podcast at gmail.com. And you can always reach out. I'll say hello. You say hello. We'll say hello. And I will see you soon on The Fatherless Cheat Sheet.